Have you ever shot what you thought was the perfect aerial video, only to get home and realize it's a wobbly, shaky mess? It is one of the most frustrating things for any drone pilot. Well, today, we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to uncover the hidden force that might just be shaking your drone apart from the inside out.
So what is this invisible gremlin causing all this chaos? You've already checked your camera settings, you flew on a perfectly calm day, but that wobble, it just won't quit. Well, the truth is, the problem usually isn't your camera, and it's probably not your piloting skills. It's something much, much smaller, spinning thousands of times every single minute. And here it is. Meet the villain of our story, the Jell-O effect. It's that telltale, rippling distortion that can absolutely ruin an otherwise perfect shot. And you know what causes it? High-frequency vibrations coming from one critical place, your propellers. Okay, but before we dive into the cause, we really need to look at all the evidence. Because believe me, that shaky video you're seeing, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole trail of clues that point to something much more damaging happening to your drone. So think about it. Have you ever felt your drone's body vibrating way more than it should? Or noticed the motors are getting surprisingly hot after a flight? These aren't separate problems. Those things, plus that awful Jell-O video, and even your flight times getting shorter, they are all symptoms of a single root cause. Your propellers are out of balance. So how can something so small create so much trouble? All right, let's put on our detective hats for a second and dig into the physics, the unseen forces that are just wreaking havoc at thousands of RPM. It really all comes down to one thing: the center of mass. For a propeller to be perfect, its center of mass has to line up exactly with its center of rotation. Any little deviation, we're talking less than a millimeter, creates an imbalance. And the second that propeller starts to spin, that tiny, tiny imperfection becomes a massive, massive problem. Now, it's easy to think a propeller is balanced if you just, set it down and it's its level, kind of like a seesaw. That's what we call static balance. But the real test, the one that actually matters, is dynamic balance, staying perfectly stable while it's spinning, like a good spinning top. For a drone prop that's revving up like crazy, dynamic balance is everything. And the physics on this is crystal clear. This formula right here shows just how destructive that imbalance gets. Now, don't worry about the math, just focus on that last part. The rotational speed, omega, is squared. That little 2 right there, that's the key to everything. What that means is the force trying to tear your drone apart grows exponentially with speed. Think about an unbalanced washing machine during the spin cycle, right? At low speeds, it's just a little wobble, but when you crank that thing up, it feels like it's going to shake the entire house apart. Get this. A tiny 1-gram imbalance on a prop spinning at 10,000 RPM can generate almost 30 pounds of force trying to rip the motor right off its mount. That's what's happening to your drone. And that violent shaking? Oh, it doesn't just stay in the motor. No way. It sets off what I like to call a destructive cascade, a ripple effect of vibration that travels through the entire drone, causing total system-wide chaos. Let's just follow the path for a second. It starts at the propeller, obviously, then it gets transferred directly into the motor bearings, just hammering them and wearing them down way faster than they should. From there, it travels right down the drone's arm to the mainframe, and this is where it really starts to mess with the drone's brain. The IMU, the inertial measurement unit, is basically the heart of your drone's flight controller. It's got the accelerometer and the gyroscope that tell the drone if it's level. But these high-frequency vibrations are like loud, screaming noise right in the sensor's ears. It forces the drone to make constant, tiny corrections, which wastes energy and can make the flight feel unstable and just off. And here you have it, the final stop on that vibration's destructive journey. It travels all the way to your camera. Because the camera's sensor scans the image line by line, that constant shaking means each line is captured from a slightly different position. And the end result is that warped, wobbly, Jell-O-like distortion we all hate.
And now, look at the difference. With the dynamically balanced propeller, the source of that crazy vibration is just gone. The IMU gets clean data, the motors run smooth as silk, and the camera captures a stable, beautiful, crystal clear image. I mean, the change is literally night and day. But look, this is about so much more than just getting pretty pictures. Over time, that constant vibration causes real physical damage. It beats up the motor bearings, it wastes your battery power by turning it into useless heat instead of thrust, and it can even cause tiny microcracks in the frame. It's just plain shortening the life of your equipment.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, we've followed the path of destruction, we've seen the long-term damage it can do. So, how do we finally fix it? Well, it's time to introduce the hero of our story, dynamic balancing. So, there are two main ways we can correct an imbalance. The first method is adding weight. This is where you apply tiny balancing stickers, or even a drop of UV glue, to the lighter side of the propeller. It's super precise and it's reversible. The other way is removing weight, which means you carefully sand or grind a tiny bit of material off the heavier side. This is permanent, but it's just as effective. So, after all this detective work and fixing, what's the actual payoff here? Well, it's all about transforming your drone from just a fun tool into a precise, durable, and seriously reliable piece of professional equipment.
The benefits are just huge. You get that crystal clear video every single time. Your motors run cooler, they run more efficiently, which gives you longer flight times. Your components last longer, saving you money on repairs. And maybe most importantly, your drone becomes safer and way more predictable in the air.
So, when you really think about it, propeller balancing isn't just some optional tweak or a quick fix. It's a foundational, absolutely crucial step for anyone who's serious about professional quality, peak performance, and the long-term health of their gear.
Which really just leaves us with one final question to think about. Do you see propeller balancing as just another annoying expense, or is it a critical investment in the quality of your work and the lifespan of your equipment? The answer to that could honestly change the way you fly.